This is another Airsoft Mike production.
What's his name again?
Ryan. James Ryan. He dropped in with 101st.
Go home and give me a runner up here. Runner!
An historical welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we're doing the M2 Paratrooper gas blowback from King Arms. Now if you remember, I previously did this baby down here, the M1 Carbine. That was single shots only. Then a thing called the M2 came out. That was capable of full auto, so that was select fire. But then they decided to put a fold-in stock on the M2, and that's what we've got here. The M2 Paratrooper, which looks exactly the same as the M1A1 Paratrooper, with the subtle difference of select fire. I've said this before, I love how King Arms package their primaries. By the way, real wood, nice, but yeah, the charging handle or cocking handle right there is protected by a bit of foam, so none of that double bell-esque hole in the box because of the handle. And I'll say this is a 2026 purchase of this model. Right, let's get her out. This looks amazing. Look at that. I knew this would be covered with oil because this is the real deal. There's the Airsoft version. Let's have a quick comparison with the real version, and I tell you what, King Arms did a pretty good job. In fact, it's pretty much identical apart from the obvious Airsoft components. Now, of course, the Airsoft one being a gas mag, initially when they're both empty, the Airsoft one is much heavier. And yeah, that's where you fill it up with gas. Right, let's compare the Airsoft M2 Paratrooper mag with the Airsoft M1 Carbine mag. And as you can see there, apart from a couple of major differences, they're pretty much identical in terms of, yes, they will both fit in either the M1 or the M2. However, the couple of major differences: 15 rounds, 35 rounds, CO2, green gas, the length. Right now, because I previously, not too long ago, did the M1 Carbine, I'm not going to go too in-depth into this, just to show you the main differences. Right here is your lever to move it into full auto where it is now, or when I pull it back, semi-auto. However, having said what I said before about not going too much into this, I will still talk you through the basics, just in case you didn't watch my M1 Carbine video. So I want to lock that charging handle back. To do that, you would need to press and hold this down once you have pulled it back. So back like that, press the button, gently release. Nice. Decent.
Hey, my magazine's empty. Reloading.
So you have safe and fire. And then another major difference, of course, is that you have this grip. And at the bottom of that grip, you have your rear sling point, and I think that's pretty cool how that's been designed. And if you look carefully, you can see it's sort of canted or towards the left. Look there, at an angle. And there's a reason for that, and I'll show you that when we get to the other side. And then, of course, we get to what I would say is the biggest major difference between this and its full stock counterpart. Of course, this is designed for the paratroopers, so you've got this very nice rear foldable stock. And what I like about this, King Arms has replicated it very nicely indeed. So that little loop that you can see right there is for your little oil bottle. And if you remember, on my M1 Carbine version, I have one of those little oil bottles, which I got from one of those army surplus places, and it is currently deployed in the said M1 Carbine. There, look. And then of course you can see the rear end of, I would say is a cheek rest, but not much of a cheek rest. But it is pretty cool, and I love that King Arms has once again replicated that piece of leather that would have been wrapped around that bit of metal. We'll come to that on the other side. And there you have your butt plate, which is metal too. So again, I'm loving how King Arms has done this. They've really tried to keep this as faithful as possible. I'll show you that properly once I fold the stock. Now, as you can see there, everything is pretty much identical from about in front of that grip going forward. It's identical to the M1, apart from the white print that you've got on this one and the colour of the bolts. You can see there on my M1 version, the CO2 one, the bolt looks sort of like steel. It's not steel, but it looks like steel. It's got that grey look to it. And the M2, it's completely black. And as I said, the front, identical. Go check out my M1 Carbine version for more details. And there, of course, you've got your selector switch there for safe and fire. And in front of that, your mag release. And then we get to the rear sight. Now, although I covered this very exact same sight on the M1, I'm going to talk about it for about 20 seconds now because, again, they have let me down. As awesome as it looks, and as awesome as it is adjustable for windage, this section here where the aperture is, it does not move. Again, identical to the M1. However, what I will say about the M1, although it comes under a different brand, but I believe they're both King Arms, but this doesn't come under the King Arms brand on the box. But I love that they've got the real steel trades. And then we get to this awesome looking skeleton stock looking exactly like the real thing. And steel, nice. I also, yeah, let's get back to this again. Right here, I guess that's some kind of cheek rest, but of course it just holds everything together nicely. And I'm loving that they have replicated that leather, that piece of leather that they would have put around that metal section that I showed you on the other side. And it is nicely secured by these rivets. And might I suggest, they've probably used glue too. There's your butt plate. You can see there how it's hinged on there. And it's designed it that way so that when you do fold it in, you can actually make that go a bit more flatter. Can you see that? Parallel to the actual body of the M2. So look, beautiful chunky wooden grip there. Have a look. And again, I'll bring you back to that rear sling point. And that's what it looks like from beneath. You can appreciate at this angle now that if you're holding this Paratrooper, that sling point is slanted towards the left, which coincides nicely with your front sling point, which, by the way, is steel. So to quickly recap your steel sections of this, it's your stock, your front sling point, however not your rear one. Any screws that you see on this will also be steel, including that huge chunky one right there, and your barrel band. That dial right there where you would make your windage adjustments, steel. Right, let's get hands on with this bad boy. So the stock literally just folds in like that. Now the idea is, even though it's fairly parallel to the body itself, you can see right here that you can make this a bit more flatter so it folds in a bit more. But because the butt plate is on such a strong spring tension, it just folds out again like that. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. It folds in nicely. But anyway, look, cheeky little bit of real world rust. Oh, and just like its M1 counterpart, you adjust the hop up just there. Nice. It's got a nice little kick to it. Okay, full auto, baby. Oh, nice. Now let me keep it real with you. A nice kick on semi-auto, but when you put it into full auto, it's almost as if the kick is reduced by about 50%, and I'm not exaggerating. Okay, let's see what it does on the Chrono, but ooh, by the way, look, this is the low-powered nozzle. In fact, it's the regular high-powered one, because you know the M1 I did, the same thing, but just the M1 version, that was shooting hot. That was giving me about the 400 FPS, but it didn't have that little restrictor in the center there. Can you see that? That little bit right there. In fact, look at the M1. There you go. No restrictor in there, which is why this M1 was giving me around the 400 FPS. Eye protection on. Good grief, that's weak. Here goes, full auto. Hey, that is pathetic. But anyway, let's see. Actually, I'm okay with the rounds per second, but look at the FPS. Look at the joules, for crying out loud. Good grief. And do you know what's even worse? Full mag of gas. And I can already feel it's getting slightly weak. So you're barely going to get a mag's worth. I'll tell you what, hold on. I might as well just empty the mag before I put the CO2 one in. Please tell me you emptied the mag. Don't tell me you ran out before. Okay. So at least it empties the mag. But that is pretty poor performance in terms of gas efficiency and meh. Anyway, let's try the CO2 one. Oh, and by the way, it makes no difference if I use the CO2 version of the mag. It's got a restrictor in there, so it's still going to give me low FPS. Guaranteed. See? Right, so what I've done is I've put some more gas in here, a few more BBs, gonna do a quick accuracy test. And by the way, if you really want to see what this is capable of without the restrictor, just watch the M1 Carbine version I did. So there you go, just like the M1 Carbine that I did, which had excellent accuracy, even though it's at fairly short range. It is just as good, despite the restrictor in the nozzle. Look at that bad boy!
Perfect. Groovy. Perfect.
So there you go, people. This is the King Arms M2 Paratrooper. Looks exactly the same as the M1A1, the only difference being select fire. Now you know what I'm going to say, so I'll keep it brief. It looks amazing. It looks so authentic, but If you're going to get one of these bad boys, make sure you get the one that doesn't have the nozzle that has that little restrictor in there. You don't want the power down, low power nozzle, unless you're in a country that requires that. But the good news is, easily replaceable. The nozzle, that is. Thanks for watching.